It's time for technology. It's time for the robots. Bring in the robots. Chris Abel is here. Real Chris Abel. Krisabel is where you can find Chris online. And we're digging into the tech. We're getting into health again. I like these little health and tech topics you've been bringing, my friend.
All right, cool. Yeah. What's happened is that here in Canada, Health Canada has approved a feature in Google's Pixel smartphones that previously wasn't available here, but they've now given approval for it. On the Pixel smartphones, going back to the Pixel 8, Pixel 9, Pixel 10, the Pro version of those phones, they all have a temperature sensor located just underneath the camera. And up until this point, that temperature sensor was something Google was only comfortable saying you could use for objects. You want to get the temperature of an object that you're working on in your workshop or even food that you're cooking. You could use it for that. But in terms of your personal health, no, it was just not considered to be good enough. Well, Health Canada has now given the regulatory approval that yes, the temperature sensor can be used to monitor your own health or the health of another. What's interesting is that this now opens the door for Google to add or put all sorts of apps and uses for the temperature sensor moving forward. But I also asked them in terms of how could this be used in other ways? Since it's located right underneath the camera, that suggests that this is something you point at somebody and you get their temperature. I said, what are the ranges for that? Could I point my camera across the table, across the room, during a date? Would I be able to slyly detect if somebody's temperature might be rising or things going
Ooh.
very, very, very well? Could I use that sensor to be able to monitor somebody and see if they're lying, saying something that maybe they shouldn't be saying?
Oh.
Google Canada, when they sat down with me, they laughed at this. They liked it. They said that no, actually, technology, the way that it works, you have to hold the phone up against your skin to get a temperature reading. Preferably when it comes to getting a reading that's useful for fevers or colds up against your forehead. So potentially if you are trying to monitor somebody else's temperature on the sly, it's going to be really difficult because you're holding it right up against their forehead.
I have good news for you.
Hmm.
At least it's your forehead. People of a certain generation get that joke. The people, never mind. All right. Are we going to talk about? I want to move on from that because I made it weird. Or we
Yeah.
should do the
No,
devices
no,
next. All
no.
right.
No, weird is good on that one.
Don't put your phone there to check the temperature. Okay. New devices. What do you got?
So this is also the day that Google had their Made by Google event in which they unveiled the next generation of their smartphones, known as Pixel smartphones. And so this is Pixel 10. That's how far we've gotten with Google having their own range of smartphones. And it ranges from the Pixel 10, which is a starting price of $1,099, goes through the Pixel Pro, $1,349, all the way up to the new Pixel 10 Fold. That's the folding phone. That is the screen that magically folds in half. And I'm sad to say that's $2,400. That tells you
Yikes.
just how magical it is. The good news is, though, that this generation, the Pixel 10 phones, actually are offering a really great deal or value in terms of across the range. You don't have to necessarily go up to the Pro or the XL to get some of the better features. So, for example, they have a feature called Magic Q, which uses artificial intelligence to act as a personal assistant. While you're on the phone, you're having a conversation with somebody, it can retrieve information in relation to the conversation. So if you're talking to somebody about, hey, when is our reservation for dinner? Suddenly the screen will light up and it will have retrieved your reservation for the dinner, and you can have it talk to somebody right then and there. You don't have to go through your phone or leave the phone app to try to get that information. Same things with vacation details, all sorts of cool information. It's going to be very, very handy. The other really cool feature is called Camera Coach. So when you're taking a photograph, this is an AI that's monitoring what you're doing. Before you've taken the photograph, it will go, if you move the angle, you'll get a little bit more of this in the scene. Or if you adjust and look up, you'll get a little bit more of the trees in the shot. They will tell you or warn you if somebody's photobombing the photograph, or if somebody is sort of in the shot that shouldn't be in the shot. So this is a great feature in terms of teaching you how to be a better photographer. And then the last part I'll say is that the cameras, even starting with just the regular Pixel 10, includes a telephoto lens, and with the use of artificial intelligence, can go up to an amazing 100 times zoom. So digitally, you can look across the park, for example, and say, what's that over by somebody's car? Well, you can now zoom in and check out, and artificial intelligence will clean up the shot and give you better clarity of what you're looking for.
Hmm. Does that make it an artificial picture though? I don't know.
That's, well, an artificially enhanced picture, I guess,
Right.
is how I would classify that.
Yeah,
Nothing
because they
is
do that in
being
music too, right?
correct. Nothing's being altered or faked necessarily, but it is being given clarity. So if you're
Hmm.
trying to get a sense of what it is that you're looking at, rather than the image sort of breaking apart, it will retain it. I will say, however, having looked at it and tested it a little bit, it's not always reliable if you're trying to read something. If you're trying to look at a sign that's 2 blocks away, it's not necessarily going to be clear enough for you to be able to read the information there. But it is clear enough for you to be able to look and go, what is that? Is that a raccoon or is that a coyote? Well, you'll be able to
Right.
tell the difference.
Oh, very good stuff. Okay. We knew the day was coming, Chris Abel. The robots are making babies.
Yeah. So this is a story that's gone crazy. I was a little hesitant to talk about it because it's been way off the charts. But here's basically what's going on. There is a entrepreneur in Singapore, China. He is someone with a technology background. He's studied at many universities, who is proposing he wants to combine two inventions that are happening in our time. So one invention is that medical researchers have been looking at artificial incubators that can be used as a synthetic womb. So you can take a baby very early in the pregnancy and bring it to fruition. So I mean, today we of course have incubators for premature babies to try to finish the pregnancy. But medical research wants to be able to create a gestation chamber in which an umbilical cord can deliver nutrients to a baby very early in the pregnancy and bring it all the way through term. Well, this entrepreneur is saying, well, I want to combine that with a humanoid robot. So I want to take a humanoid robot, install the gestation chamber into its stomach so that the chamber there would be able to monitor and take care of the baby. And then the robot, using artificial intelligence, would be able to carry the baby around, but also be able to monitor its health vitals, look after it, bring it to the full pregnancy term.
Hmm. I don't know. That's weird. I guess if it's a robot carrying the baby and it's really just an automated chamber, like a incubation thing, like
Yes,
I
it's
guess like
kind
it's basically like a mobile baby ICU. You know what I mean? Like I
I
guess.
think that's what he's kind of thinking as well. But there are all sorts of implications in terms of, does the humanoid robot become a surrogate? What's going on culturally? Of course, this is driven people
Yeah. Well,
crazy
the
in
faith
terms of
part is
what's
going to be
happening.
holy moly.
Oh, yeah. But also, the warning sign for me is that he's already indicated that he thinks he can have this on the market early next year, and
Whoa.
it will be made available as a commercial robot. He's thinking that in terms of the currency conversion, it'd come out to be about $14,000 US.
Okay, if that's cheaper than giving birth to the baby.
Well, that's so. This seems to be the idea is that in the same way that you might take an incubator for premature babies and then use that to be able to actually take care of babies earlier on, he's sort of thinking in the same way that some women choose a cesarean section
Yeah.
to avoid aspects of giving birth. Could you not use a robot to actually take care of the aspects of actually the pregnancy itself?
Oh, that's wild to think. You just imagine the sound. Psh, you open it up. It's like something from Star Wars. My goodness. All right, Chris Abel. Follow him online, real Chris Abel, at all the channels and YouTube and all the bits and pieces. And you too can get your comments in on whether we should have robot baby delivering systems. It's the robot stork, really, is what it is.
Yeah.
Chris Abel, thanks for popping in. Great to see you.
All right. Take care.
Shane Hewitt and the Night Shift. There you go. There's all the robots taking over for all the health things. Is quite fascinating.